dark of night, it brings refuge, and we ran and hide by light of the moon.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Achella, aka Sochella for those of you that are new. Today I actually wanted to talk about the Africa is King album by Beyonce, and I know I'm like kind of late to the party when it comes to adding my commentary on it, but I still felt like it was a worthwhile conversation to have just because of all of the different kind of conversations that it's encouraged. Actually, you know, I think it was like last weekend on Twitter, Noname got dragged for pretty much kind of like critiquing Beyonce essentially for only using like African culture for the sake of like aesthetics rather than actually addressing like some of the issues that are going on in Africa. And I think people missed the mark because of the fact that it's Beyonce and, you know, she can do no wrong essentially. But I really didn't see anything wrong with her commentary. I think it's just because of the nature of like celebrity culture, we are it's almost like we can't really hold them accountable for the certain things that they do. In my personal opinion, I don't feel like Africa is King was that bad of a thing itself. I think it was great actually. It also allowed a lot of folks that were within multiple industries to kind of like have a platform to potentially have a high-paying gig, you know, since you're working for Beyonce and Disney and stuff. But that being said, I think sometimes people don't really understand that that doesn't really correlate with like uplifting the issues that are in Africa or directly impacting the people that are most in need in Africa. And I think that the reason why that might be is that there's also a glossing over of the fact that when we're part of different classes within like blackness, we don't necessarily have the same agenda. So you can be a middle class person, for example, and see the greatness of this and see, you know, love the aesthetic and all that other stuff. But if you don't have the like the poor class individuals in mind when you're thinking about some of the things that need to be uplifted, you aren't really going to see anything wrong with only focusing on the positives. In Black is King, Beyonce did have, you know, a couple different like songs that were more so connected to like activism and like kind of like propping up black people as like strong and powerful. And while that's also great imagery too, it makes black people feel happy and proud to be black. The reality is that if she isn't using her platform to actually address those different things outside of her music, then how much good is she really like doing to African people or like black people as a whole? Personally, as far as like the commentary or like the critique around her appropriating African culture, I don't necessarily feel like she is appropriating because I don't think there's anything wrong with exploring your African descent because you have a right to do so, right? She also did it in a way that was tasteful, and she collaborated with a lot of artists that were from like various countries as well. And you know, we even had like, I think there was like 5 South Sudanese like models that were even in the Africa is King documentary to begin with as well. She really did take the initiative to do her research, to follow up with creators that are African. That being said, like I said, we have to not correlate that with like full-on activism. Like I've seen that, I want to say it was like Tyrese comparing Beyonce to a Malcolm X or something like that, or and it was just kind of like those are like those are not comparable. Like just because you choose to, you know, uplift something in your music, she didn't really get into like the specifics of our struggles. She doesn't, you know, get into activism outside of that. I mean, she might donate on the like philanthropic end, but outside of that, she hasn't really taken a strong stance outside of like I think she's been part of some electoral politics related things of like saying like vote for this person, like endorsing people and stuff like that, but she hasn't came out to talk about her thoughts around like police accountability or police brutality to a explicit extent. Funny enough, I think Malcolm X quote that a friend of mine recently like addressed, and she was basically saying, well, he was essentially saying that celebrities are not our leaders, and it was essentially getting at how we shouldn't really idolize celebrities to the point where they are, you know, having the same position as our politicians and stuff. But the unfortunate part is that because black people have been marginalized for so long, the only people in like major media that we have are our celebrities. But the issue with that is that we're no longer able to actually hold them accountable to the same extent as politicians. So you end up just having folks that were propped up in a nature where they aren't even like, it's not like a merit-based nature, but they still have the same level of influence as a politician, as someone who, you know, is elected in. And I think that folks really need to, you know, be cautious of that. I also think it's funny that people attack folks like Noname for being critical of people regardless of their status. I think the reality is that just because Beyonce may be your favorite artist, she is still like closer to being part of the 1% than she is of like the lower like 50 to 99% or whatever. And that means that she has had to exploit a lot of poor and working class people in order to get to the position that she's gotten to. So you can't just completely write that off just because you like her music, you know what I mean? And I think people really need to focus on trying to be more critical of things like that, because it can be dangerous if you're not like paying attention to those things. I think it's also interesting that folks are constantly attacking like wokeness, or just like accumulating knowledge and you know, reading like political theory or radical theory and having like different like sociological like lenses, when that's the only way that you'll really be able to like navigate in this world and really take into consideration all of the moving pieces if you are educated. So I think we need to kind of like get back to a point where we are like, you know, seeking knowledge and stuff. I seen another tweet that was like targeted towards Noname the other day, and it was actually essentially saying like, let me look at it actually. Damn, I can't find it. So anyways, it was like a so it was this tweet that was actually addressed to Noname, and this one woman was essentially saying like, don't you get tired? Like I would really be like sad to like have like live in your experience and wake up like miserable every day and stuff. And she was essentially just getting at how Noname focuses too much on politics on a day-to-day basis, and she constantly seems angry and stuff. I think that was really telling of a lot of folks that are in our society now as well, because folks feel like they would just rather like stay within their silos of just kind of like, you know, sticking to their friends and family and like focusing, having a really like self-centered like life and not focus on like the things that are going on in the world. And I know that in the US it can be really easy to do that. Sometimes I've, you know, had to check myself personally too and stuff, but the reality is that there's so much stuff that is still going on in the world, that there are folks that are still being enslaved, there's human trafficking, there are folks like, you know, protesters who are, you know, being attacked for even speaking up to begin with. You know, there's just so many things going on, and the fact that we are choosing to be ignorant is really unfortunate, and I think that that might be like the demise of our humanity. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Comment any of your thoughts in regards to the Black is King, in regards to anything that I said in this video. Also, like this video if you want to see more content like this, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.
So I want to say thank you to my mom. She tell my small. How low, wherever you say I will go.